Hey everyone. So I'm going to be doing a review of Dick Tracy number 9. Now, I really enjoyed this. Yeah, I've been really just enjoying this series as a whole. I love these kind of detective series, but now I'm going to just jump right into it, full spoilers. So I thought this was pretty good. It feels like there's some forward momentum going on. I'm almost certain we're going to figure out who the blank is in the next issue. It feels like that. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm basically certain that's the case because the next issue has an image saying the blank revealed. So yeah, I thought this was. I'm gonna give it like 4 stars. Thought it was yeah, good issue. Really enjoyed it. Um, yeah, so the thing that from the previous issue, the thing that was on my mind was about Pat being the blank, and very quickly, it just didn't make sense because in the other issues, like it didn't feel like Pat was the blank. It feels like he had a lot of anger problems, and I feel like that was a misdirect, and that's basically confirmed in this one that he was essentially like going really crazy on like researching, and he just felt like Dick Tracy was on the wrong path. He didn't actually, he's not actually the blank, and not just that. Pat has been helping Breathless. So I thought that was really interesting as well. Now there is like this argument that Breathless has with Dick, and it's in the previews. So I thought it was pretty great. Yeah, there's that revelation. Pat was with me, and at a certain point, like this conversation, like you can tell that like I do like this line. Save it. I know what you see when you look at me, and I know that's never going to change, right? So she's under the impression that Dick just kind of looks at her as like this someone who just like dances at the nightclub, that kind of vibe. And he does judge her on that. And like at the end of this issue, like there is a part where what's her name, Tess and Dick Tracy kiss, and so this relationship that Breathless and Dick Tracy have, like it seems to not be moving forward whatsoever. Like I remember when the arc started, I thought that maybe this could be something because I wasn't fully convinced that him and Tess could become a thing. Once again, I don't know much about like the Dick Tracy lore at all. So yeah. Now, one thing that would be interesting would be if Breathless was the blank, because then it's not just a story about this psychotic serial killer, it's also a story about love. Because at the end, she's going after Tess. So if she was also feeling rejected by Dick Tracy and then simultaneously is the psychotic killer, that would be great. Now, the thing is, in the previous issue, the blank was right next to her. So I don't really know what's going to go on there. Like, she was like dangling off the top of that into like acid. So, I would like the idea of her being the blank, but then the previous issue I feel like confirmed that wasn't the case. So that's kind of a bummer. Actually, let me double check the actual vibe of that to see if that's the case. 1 second. Yeah, no, he was definitely going to try kill her. So I don't think she is the blank at all. Yeah, and also it was confirmed in another issue that it's going to be someone on the force, so she can't really be the blank now that I think about it. But I do feel like it would have been like an interesting thing where she would also not just want to go after Dick Tracy because of his values as being a cop. That she was also like jealous of Tess or something. That would have been like kind of interesting to have both of those molds happening. Now, so anyway, my pick for who the blank is definitely going to be that cop character. What was her name? Like for example, Pat always calls her Kid, or Officer Grove. Yeah, her with the scar down her face. There's this image. There's a specific image where like Dick is like talking about the kind of killer blank is, and he says he thinks he's cleansing the city of bad people, criminals who didn't get the sentence they deserved. It's perverse. He's trying to impress us, show the police how to do it, how they do it. The blank is a sick individual, but that doesn't excuse any of this. And she looks disgusted. Pat and Tess just look like they're listening to information, but she feels like she's pretty revolted by what he's saying and angry. Now, yeah, so like yeah, there's that, and also like in the first issue of this arc, she's there. She's the one who gets called first, and she's the one who gets cut in the face, but we never get to see the other person who actually called her over. You know, like, what's up with that? And Tess gets attacked by the blank in that moment. So I have a good feeling that it is going to be Officer Grove, and it kind of makes sense if it is her, because she's been given some spotlight. She's a new character. I feel like it makes a lot of sense. She's on the force. I feel like she represents that, and she's also like, even though she's like psychotic and intense, I do wonder like what made her like that. It does make sense that she would also be kind of sloppy in the way she does things. Like, so far she's gotten away with all the kills, but with Fangs, like, she stabs him, runs off, and does like a poor job, and the guy survives. Like, maybe her being like a bit amateurish also adds to it. Maybe the reason why she joined the force in the first place is to kind of cleanse the city based on her sense of justice. So I'm gonna go with Officer Grove for the next one. For the reveal of who the blank is. That's gonna be my personal prediction. Now, like, here's the thing. Like, I feel like I thought that in issue 7. So, but then I felt like issue 8 kind of veered me off that. Not that I thought it was Pat. I just thought like it could be someone else. But now I'm more convinced again that it is Officer Grove. Yeah, that's just what I feel like. And I also feel like, well, that end scene, you know, confirms it's not Tess. I never thought it was Tess. And I never really, thought it was Pat. It just, he has a lot of like aggression, and he takes it out on Fangs and all that stuff. And that makes sense. I'm not really sure who else from the cops it could be. Like, it could be, I don't know. I don't think it's like the person at the morgue. I don't think it's the person who's helping Tess. Those are the other characters that have just been shown. Unless it's someone outside of this arc, but then that would be kind of lame because you can't really piece it together yourself. Like, it's better for it to be a character within the arc that's actually being given some spotlight. That would make things a lot better. Anyway, let's just go. I'm just going to go through like certain scenes. So like I said, that first scene between Breathless and Dick Tracy I thought was great. It was intense. There was a lot of value in that scene. Another scene, well, the next scene would be, Pat and Tess kind of figuring things out. I really enjoyed that they didn't try to make Pat seem like the bad guy, because he kind of explains like his position very quickly, and it just all makes sense, you know. And even Dick Tracy, as soon as he goes and engages with Pat, he doesn't really grill him on the whole Breathless thing. He just talks to him about like the evidence and stuff like that. And one thing that's really interesting is it says right here, there's a letter. He gives a letter with Monty's 7 hand. You remember that Monty was that person who basically went around like killing people and stuff, and he used like different knives, and he cuts his hands off, and that's like more evidence for the blank psychotic nature. Like, he is kind of using, like, it's poetic in a certain sense. I also like this page. There's a page where, this is right after the showing of the hands, where it just zooms in on Dick Tracy's face, and he looks very, very serious, and the car's just like driving. It's a full page spread, and he has like this intensity on him. I thought that was good. I also thought like Dick the Blank going after the chief was perfect. That was essentially like perfect character for the Blank to go after. I thought that was great, especially given what he did in the previous arc, the first arc. So it makes perfect sense that the Blank would feel like the chief is not doing what he was supposed to, which he wasn't, right? But obviously that doesn't necessarily mean that his actions are justified. I thought the art was great when he was burning. Like, it just looks really good. The fire looks incredibly intense. He looks like he's burnt to a crisp. I am surprised how burnt he is. I do think he's going to survive, because I think the chief is a good character, and I think the chief can go on to have a redemption arc, and I think this being the start of that would be good. Though he does look like he's getting burnt really, really intensely. It looks like he's really like getting burnt, and he's still burning. Like when Officer Grove comes along, like the police are just like standing around. So maybe he is dead. I don't know. Like, they just like let him burn. Like, we don't know what's going on. I'm still going to predict that he does survive, because I feel like there's more to do with the chief. I think that would be interesting. Now, the bit of mystery that really is tugging for me uh is the yeah, like Fang's blackmailing Breathless and Pat helping her out, and we don't really know why or what that's about. We're still in the mystery for that. So I think that's really interesting. Um, yeah, yeah, I enjoyed this issue quite a bit. I think yeah, once again, I've always enjoyed the art. I love the use of like blue with the contrast with the yellow of Dick Tracy's suit. There's a lot of that, and Tessa's hair and her blue eyes. There's just a lot of great blue and yeah, blue and yellow kind of dichotomy. That's like just perfect. Um, and yeah, it was good seeing Tess and Dick Tracy like kiss. That was nice. Like I was kind of curious what brought this scene on, but I feel like it was mostly to like move the plot along. It seems like Dick forgave Tess for having used her reporter skills to actually put all this information out there, but he didn't like that. But he does confirm that everyone's been on a bit of an edge, and it seems like understanding the blank has calmed him down enough that he actually wants to have like a bit of respite and enjoy his time with Tess. And I think that is what the blank is reacting to. Is like this guy's just like sitting there. He's unable to do what's right. I do love this dialogue monologue that he has. Like, Dick Tracy, I had such high hopes for you. Was it foolish of me, Tracy, to think you'd appreciate my work? It's lonely and dangerous cleaning up this city. I thought you'd be with me. Instead, I'm left wondering if you're not part of the problem too. I see it now. Your weakness, your unwillingness to do what's right. Which means, Tracy, you'll just have to suffer the same fate as all the rest, right? So yeah, I thought that was great. So now he's like personally going after Dick Tracy, and yeah, he is unhinged. I think it's pretty clear that Dick Tracy's assessment of the blank is right. He is definitely psychotic. If anyone was like thinking his actions were justified in some way. Yeah, overall good issue, good issue. Just trying to see if there's anything else that like really stood out. Let's see. Let's see what. One thing I noticed is I mean, it could be Denborough, the guy who's like Tessa's informant. As in, he always has the information. He's giving her information. He's the one who provides like the hand, all that stuff. It could be him, but I really doubt it. I'm definitely gonna put my cards with that officer. I just think that would be more interesting as well. Also, I do like the foreshadowing from Tess when them and Pat's talking. Her and Pat's talking. She's like, we figure out who he's going to kill next, and we figure out who the blank is and what he's going to do to get one step ahead of him. Well, now we know who he's going to try kill next, which is going to be Tracy. And yeah, just to emphasize the brilliance of like having Chief Brandon back into the story, like the blank is a cop. Then there's one piece of so-called filth that would be especially important to them. The one person Dick hasn't put behind bars. Like that's pretty perfect. It really does make sense that he would go after the chief. Also, that big page where it says the blank is showing us up. He's showing off. This is a game to him, and we're losing badly. With that officer, with what's her name? Officer, the one I think who's going to be the blank. What is it? Officer Grove. With her, like she's trying to prove herself as well, and she's constantly getting shut down by Pat. That's another way, how she's going to show Pat as well that, hey, look at my expertise. Look, I've been one step ahead of you this whole time, and you've been barely listening to me. So that can be like a moment that we also get payoff to once that person's revealed. So I think that's going to be interesting as well. So anyway, those are my thoughts for this issue. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I love this series, Dick Tracy. I think it's great. I think more people should read it if they're really into that detective vibe. I hope you guys enjoyed this review/thoughts. And once again, look at that art. I mean, it's just lovely. The colors specifically are just amazing. Like, I feel like the colorist has a really good idea of how these colors go. Yeah, it's just very nice coloring. Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys. Hope you guys will tune in for Dick Tracy 10, where we'll be able to figure out who the blank is. Okay, take care. Bye.